No one talks about this, but sooner or later, it happens to everyone. That's why today I'm gonna share the specifics of what happened to me and how I handled it. My goal is to help you feel more confident dealing with inevitable situations like this. First, let's talk about the situation. This was in my first year of this business after I'd just done a massive launch that blown my mind, an $800,000 launch. It was more money than I had ever made by far in my entire life or dreamed of. So I was off celebrating by taking my sister on her college graduation trip to Italy. Just the two of us, girls trip for the first time ever. But of course, something had to happen. And it happened in the form of a potential client who wanted to join my programs, but was having some issues with my legal terms. She reached out to us and started asking questions like, hey, I don't like this part of your contract for your program terms. Can you change that? But honestly, my terms are really standard. Basically, they say I own my content and you, the customer, own yours. She had issues with that though because she misunderstood it. She thought we were saying that we were going to own her content too if she joined our program. And no matter how many times we explained it, it didn't make sense to her. Then it got worse. One day I open up my inbox and I see this notification email from her. She says she's gonna go to the media and write an article about how bad the terms in the online course industry are. Again, I try to talk her out of it. I even asked my lawyer to explain in regular language what the contract and terms mean and how, again, I don't own anything except my own content. She didn't care. She was going to write an article about this and nobody could stop her. It was my worst nightmare. I was so new to the industry, I hadn't had the chance to develop my reputation yet. And I was so scared that my reputation was going to be ruined by this woman who was basically going to say something that wasn't even true. At this point, I'm a few days into my trip with my sister, and each morning I am waking up with a little bit of trauma. I am dreading opening up my computer and seeing the latest update on this whole saga with this crazy person, essentially. One day, the worst happens. I open up my inbox and see an email from this person notifying us that the article has been published on entrepreneur.com. This is a very well-respected publication, and with trembling fingers and shaking so much, I click on the link and read the article. It shares everything that this woman has claimed she is going to share, which again is the misinterpretation of what our legal terms say. Even worse is how she positioned it. I think she called the title something like, "Beware of online coaching programs and courses." Again, remember, this woman had not purchased anything or had any negative experience aside from the fact that she had read the terms and disagreed with them. Oh, let's talk about how I handled it. I broke out into a cold sweat when I saw that article. I thought, oh my gosh, people are going to read this for a really long time to come. They're going to assume these things that are not right about my programs, and they're not even going to give me a chance. This is going to ruin my reputation before I've even had a chance to really build it. I talked to my lawyer, I talked to my friends, my mentors, and got their advice because I couldn't find anyone else talking about this and sharing their experiences. Ultimately, everyone gave me the same advice. The truth always comes to light and the facts will speak for themselves. Let it rest and focus on things that you can control to actually grow your business and continue to build your reputation, like delivering great content, delivering on what you promise in your products, providing good customer support, and continuing to show up and build that trust within your industry and with your audience that only comes from being consistent every day and being in integrity. Even though I was so scared, thankfully, I was smart enough to listen to everyone's advice. I put the situation out of my mind as best as I could. I wasn't perfect with it because I kept on going back to it and being scared. I'm human. But I did the best I could and spent the rest of my time with my sister to create some really beautiful memories. Over the years, the worst I was afraid of did happen. A lot of people have since found the article and then reached out to ask us about it because they were considering buying something from me. How I respond is super simple. I explain a super brief version of the situation. I share with them my actual terms, and then I explain, this means I own my own content, you own yours. And the reality I found is that your customers are smart. They can figure out the truth for themselves and make the best decision for them. Sometimes it does put people off and they don't buy, but a lot of the time they decide the facts and they do end up buying, and they even appreciate the way we handle it and explain the situation. There's a twist to the story though. Before I share that twist, these things happen to everyone. Have you experienced a situation with a crazy client or even just someone in your audience? How'd you handle it? Or what would you do if you were in a similar situation? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. Now, here's the twist to my story. First, inside the article, this woman actually interviewed one of my former clients who had nothing but amazing things to say about me and put that into the article. She also mentioned me in the same sentence as leaders in my industry who at that time were so far ahead of me and had way bigger brands and name recognition, and compared me to them. Basically, it kind of became an article about my authority, interviewing one of my clients who'd had amazing results, and then criticizing some legal terms that she had misunderstood. But that's not all. This next part says it all. A few days later, I got a purchase notification. Guess who it was from? That person. This person, despite everything she'd written, tried to buy from us. As you can imagine, we instantly refunded her and did not accept her into any of our products or programs. So whenever something like this happens to you, you have a troll, you have a crazy client, or you just have someone in your audience who threatens your reputation because they are not getting what they want, even though you are in integrity, know that you are not alone. This is just a rite of passage and part of building a business. Stick to the facts, handle it with integrity, and you will be okay. The truth will always come to light.